In this video we will explain Lacan's view of the hysterical subject. In reality, there are egoists who are always repugnant to others. They never care about the experience of others. And they repeatedly violate boundaries. People get mad about losing themselves when they communicate with these egoists. And the reason for everything starts with subjectivity.
For that, we have a system to explain the hysterical subjectivity. So the reason is this kind of hysterical people, their hysterical subjectivity is different than the so-called, please remain, so-called normal subjectivity, because there's no normal in psychoanalysis. So let's see, what is subjectivity first? What is subjectivity? So human subjectivity oscillates between the ego and the real body. So the needs, our needs is from the real body. Sometimes you say, you're gonna tell others, I wanna play with you, I wanna stay here, but I need to go to the restroom. Or I don't want to sleep, but I really need to take a snap. Or I really want to sleep. I really want to sleep, but I can't. So this is kind of result of your needs of your real body. So your ego is subject to the real body, and human subjectivity oscillates between both of them. But what's happening to the ego? So the ego was originally alienated from a third party. The reason I call it third party is because this third party is not related to your real body, to the real body. When we are children, we learn who we are through the other. But this other was a kind of mirror. We learn who we are from the environment, from other kids, from the teachers, from parents, how they treat us, from their attitudes. So Lacan, he used a kind of Darwinism to describe this kind of process. He called it mirror stage. And he used mimicry, this term, to describe that. Just like the insects, they learn from the environment and they become the environment. They become to be like the environment. So how parents describe their children, how parents treat their children, how objects treat the children gonna learn, gonna become that treatment, that attitude. So what's happening to the real body? Children gonna find their mother are not that perfect. Mothers cannot be that perfect. Sometimes they cannot satisfy their needs 100% or immediately. So they're gonna need to learn how to show their demands. What's happening to learn about demands? Sometimes we say, I'm sorry, but I really need to do my homework now. So let's analyze this sentence first. I need to do my homework. So I need to do my homework, which means you cannot be here. I need to stay alone. Or it could be please help me actually. But you're gonna see there is a metaphor. We use metaphor to describe the needs. That's how demands work. So so we are trying to set a so-called personal boundary. Like, okay, that's how humanism or positive psychology call that boundary. We are trying to set a boundary. But what's happening to the historical people? They don't care about your boundary. They are like, okay, we need to do your homework, whatever. Okay. But play with me. I don't care. You need to do your homework. Okay, you need to do your work. Okay, okay, okay. How about now we play the games? How about you do the things I want? So their success is not the success in the social norm or the other, but the success to occupy other boundaries. Okay, let me mention this. So when demands separate from needs, we got desire. So these three stuff are different. And for historical people, they thought my desire gonna be your social norm. My desire need to be centered as a norm of you. Okay, so for this problem, let me introduce the other for a little bit while. We are all castrated by the symbolic. We are all castrated by symbolic. But for hysterical people, they are not enough castrated for this castration. So if you find it hard to understand Lacan's symbolic, let's say you're fucked by the symbol and you cannot be underfucked. Okay, I hate to be rude, but that's a very good example, isn't it? So Sigmund Freud actually called this kind of egocentric process as fixation on the oral stage. But that's not how Lacan calls it. Lacan makes it specific. Hysteric. This kind of subjectivity is different than other subjectivities. So my success is not the success. It's not the symbolic success in the social norm, but my desire becomes a signer of the universe. Because I don't know how to show my demands. So I need you to guess my demands. That's why they said, you don't even guess my demands? You don't even know my emotions? You don't even know I'm angry? Or even like I'm sorry, I really need to focus on my work. I need my salary. How if you don't receive the salary? Is the salary even more important than me? You're gonna lose your friend me, or it's like, please don't touch this stuff. It's very expensive. Is it more expensive than our friendship? Or, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to join painting, draw some stuff for this is kind of my dream, my hobby. You don't deserve it. That's not important. Why draw a pen? Why draw a picture is important? It's not important to draw a picture. It's not. It not worth of money. It not like it doesn't worth a prize. So that's how hysterical people, how they are egocentric. They gather their desires to become the center of your universe, the center of others' universe. So that's how the historical subjectivity works. Because they don't understand the metaphor. But the origin they don't understand the metaphor is because there are lack of demands. They don't know how to show their demands. They don't know, they don't experience, or they haven't experienced this castration enough that if I don't tell others my demands, if I don't show my boundary, maybe others don't understand what I want. Because we are all castrated by the symbolic. So we are all the symbol. We are all symbols in this social, in the society, in the social norm. Like in the family, I'm a son. In the school, I'm a student or a teacher. In the company, I may be a staff worker, or translator, or say translator. So we are all castrated by the symbols to be a specific role. But for this kind of hysterical people, they never understand that you are working for the society, and or you need to you need your own boundary. You're around how the society tells you, or you're wrong for the society, but they never understand because they don't know demands, and then they don't understand this metaphor here. So Lacan has his own formula for hysterical language. But today, I just have a just for a brief introduction to hysterical subjectivity, and I'm gonna have like to introduce you some charts about the structure of hysterical subjectivity. It's not Lacan's chart; it's my own picture. But Lacan really loves different kind of charts or math stuff. So I'm gonna have my own chart to introduce for you.
So let's say this one, this square here, this square here is a symbolic. It's a symbolic, is a force of the society. And we have a certain ego here. Let's say ego alpha. And here, say ego beta. There are two different subjectivities. And of course, two different individuals can be gathered by the social norms. And basically, they're gathered by the social norms. But for this area, it's possible. That's different forms of libido. It's kind of outside or temporarily outside of the symbolic. It's possible. For this picture, it's a little bit bigger. But in reality, people don't have this kind of or much time to be like or say more chances to be outside this kind of symbolic. Like people gonna reprise sometimes. They're gonna experience repression or with their significant other or some other stuff to be a little bit back up. But how about the hysterical subjectivity? Let's say if the social power is the force from the other pushes the beta here. This beta gonna move to here. And the chance this ego beta, new ego beta, to match ego alpha gonna be less. That's how the force from the society works in your individuality, in your subjectivity. We could just call it SF maybe. Okay, now that's a problem of the hysterical subjectivity. They are outside of the symbolic. They are outside of the symbolic. And they want to across, because they need to show they exist, and they want to satisfy their needs. They want to they want others remind them or say mention them. So that's what they do. That's what they do. So the symbolic doesn't approve this attachment. Even their ego doesn't approve this attachment. So the hysterical subjectivity uses a lot of strategies to try to get privileges in the society, or say they want to gain more. They want to break more about others' personal boundaries, and then they're gonna feel they're successful. So let's say picture 2. Let's move to picture 2. So that's how I draw the picture 2. This is a new symbolic, but it's not the real. But it's not that symbolic. It's a symbolic in a desired. It's a so-called symbolic desire by the hysterical subjectivity. They thought their desires imagined by the hysterical subjectivity, that their desire gonna be the symbolic, or say they wanted their desires to be the center of others' universe. So that's what they want. They imagine other individualities across forced by their so-called symbolic. They want others work around them. And Freud just called it egocentric. Freud called it egocentric. So okay, so that's my own picture of the hysterical subjectivity. And this one is a completed one. You can take a screenshot. So today we introduced some basic information about hysterical subjectivity, and next time I'm gonna introduce you about hysterical language. That's the formal Lacan's formula. See you then.